order which one was first. Okay. So welcome to Mindfull. This is the second episode of the podcast, and I'm joined with Katie. Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to bring you a bit closer just so we can definitely hear Katie, because it's way more important to hear you than me. So I've got the questions that I want to ask you. I'm going to ask everyone the first question, like everyone, because I think I want to kind of establish like an answer with everyone, because I'm just like interested. It's just like a bit selfish really. But I want to ask if you describe yourself as having a mental illness.
I think that's like a really interesting one, because I'd never typically go up to someone and be like, I have an illness, like a mental illness. But I would say I had like anxiety. But I don't know, I know this is really bad, but I don't want to be like a burden, like to this is what's happening. And then someone's like worrying about me. Because I have those situations where like my really good close friend at home, she struggles a lot and she's told me everything, and I wake up in the middle of the night like really worried about her, and I don't want that to happen with someone else. But I also don't think it's bad enough to like say that I'm mentally ill, and I think I'm not quite sure if I like that term. Because it is like saying like you have like something's wrong with you, like you have an illness. And
that like makes a stigma around it if you call it an illness.
Exactly. So I don't know. It's actually.
I think the reason I want to ask is because I have identified as having anxiety and depression, which are like illnesses. And like because I was diagnosed by a doctor, it was very much like, this is what's wrong, we're going to fix you type thing. And I kind of want to ask, because some people would say they've had mental health problems and issues kind of like sporadically, but not like one disease or one illness throughout their life. And some people would be like, I've always had depression. And I kind of want to see like the grey scales between that of like what people identify as and stuff.
Yeah, because that's really interesting, because I think it's really interesting. I keep saying that.
I think it's really interesting.
I think I had a like a year of depression when I was about 14. But I do, as I'm getting older, I do look back on that kind of period and wonder if it was depression or if it was just like growing up and being quite sad and like you know, things happening in my body and like everything. And the thing that I did definitely struggle with was self-harm. But I don't know. I don't want to say that I was.
Yeah, you don't have to say like
depressed.
I have this illness or anything.
Yeah, and then when I kind of when it kind of got better, and I don't struggle with it now, which is great. But when it kind of like anxiety came around, for the longest time I didn't know what it was. And I thought I was just like a shy, weird person. And I spent the longest time not identifying with anxiety. But it did get to the point where I researched it, and like the term came up, and I was like, holy shit, like this is what it is. So I would say I identify with anxiety, but in like a broad term. I don't know.
I had the same thing with anxiety when I was like 16. I knew I was feeling like shit, and I knew I was having like a lot of panic attacks. I didn't know what they were, but I was experiencing like every day. And then I remember like looking up the word anxiety, because I'd like heard somewhere, and I was like, oh my god, that's what I'm having right now. And then I was learning more about it, and I think people kind of forget that anxiety is an emotion as well as like an illness. So a lot of people experience anxiety as an emotion, but I also kind of feel like putting a word on it, like putting an illness surrounding it, kind of gives it power. Like if for me at least, it made me feel like, okay, I have the word, I know what it is, I can kind of deal with it and move on now. Like obviously some people don't like that, and some people wouldn't want to use the word, but I think it's just like personal. Like for me, I love using the word, but like I like using it because it makes me feel okay, I've got control over it, I can see what it is.
100%. I was talking to my housemates the other day, and we were saying like how mental illness, like if you say like you have a mental illness, it can, some like really close-minded people can like instantly put you into a category. And like how we were saying, like, you know, every person who has anxiety will experience different things. Every person who has depression will have a completely different like story and experience. And I don't think it's fair to like when people kind of judge you for having like depression or something, that they assume that you have, you know, you can't get up in the morning, you can't do this, you can't do that, when really, like, it's completely different.
It really is, because you can have like intense sides of depression. So like
100%.
for somebody who has like clinical depression, or who has had it like, I don't know, for 10 years or something, it's obviously going to manifest itself in a really different way. If somebody, I've had people in my life who've had it for like a year, or they've had like 6 months or so where they've just had a really bad depression, and then they sort of just lifted out of it naturally, and some people just have it all the time. But I think people just assume, like, you hear the word depression and you just like assume it's the worst. And it can just be like a really, not boring, but it can be like a really kind of mundane thing. It just sort of sits inside you for a bit, and then it goes. It's not like super dramatic, like, oh no, you know.
I think that's what I struggled with when, like, I kind of analysed what I had when I was 14 with that year, where because at the time I thought it was depression, but now I look back, I'm not sure it was bad enough. But then I don't think that's fair, because like if another person said that to me, I'd be like, no, like, you can't dismiss.
Don't belittle yourself.
But with me, I'm
with
like,
yourself, it's fine. I was fine. I think it's just, you just have to understand like what is a normal emotion, and when you're a teenager you're going through so much already. You've already got hormones, your body changing, and then you're already trying to understand who you are and what you want to do. And I think when you have intense like bouts of emotion like that, it could have been depression, or it could have just been like an intense bit of emotion. But as long as you kind of have an understanding of like, sometimes it's emotion, sometimes it's mental health, just giving yourself a break and being like, I just struggled either way, I had a bad year, you know.
100%.
I was going to say, and I'm probably going to ask everyone this just because like, one, I'm a bit nosy, and two, just like, I don't know, I just feel like asking, what do you think, if anything, most helps you deal with your mental health? Like, kind of generally tips or tactics, or like things that you feel?
I think specifically with anxiety, I try and push myself every day to do something that kind of I struggle with. So you know how like famous people say, like, do something that scares you every day. I kind of do that. So like I'll push myself to go into town and just on my own. And I'll like sit in Commons, like just now, with a coffee on my laptop, and I'll just do it. Because otherwise I'll just be shut up at home. But I also quite like that I feel really like gross in my home if I don't go out. So like I'm quite I need to go out to get fresh air. So I'm quite grateful to like my own self, like I have to do that, and like and I feel quite proud when like I've done something. So when I was younger, when this like anxiety first came around, I had such a thing with buses. Like, I couldn't get on the bus on my own. I used to like ask my mum or a friend to pay for me. Like, I'll give them the money.
To like talk to the bus driver.
I was absolutely terrified. Like, I have no idea why. But when I first learned to drive, when I was 17, I remember going to the bus station, like the park and ride, and actually going into town by myself to meet a friend. And I remember texting my mum like, I did it.
Oh, that's so... See, but I think it's the little things like that, the little achievements, you shouldn't like disregard them, because like when you have anxiety, little things are massive to you. Like I'll have like, I don't know, 3 days in a row where I don't leave the house, and then I'll leave the house and I'll be like, oh my god, and I'll be like walking like, oh my god, I'm doing this right now, like I'm going. And it's a little thing. To everyone else it's like, really, that's a big deal to you, but it is a big deal, and it's an achievement in itself, and you should definitely like appreciate that.
My friend Elliot was like talking to us about like getting nervous, and he was like, I just never like I never get nervous, and like me and Emmy, we were talking, and we were like, what?
Can't relate to that.
What do you mean? I get nervous like every second of the day. Like, when I'm like in encounter with like another person, I'm terrified. But like he was just like, like, it's chill, like, and I'm like, that's so foreign to me.
I always said that because I have a twin brother, and like he's a very like cool, like confident guy, and he just like, obviously I've had mental health issues, he hasn't. He still obviously gets nervous and has like issues and stuff, but like I don't know, I always get jealous of the fact that he's never had mental health issues. But I think it's interesting because people, and we were talking about this recently, like a few weeks ago when I went home, people are struggling now to see that we're different people because we're twins, and it's like, oh well, you're obviously just going to feel the same about everything, and like he wants to go out and do all these social things and go to these parties, and we have like some of the same friendship groups, and I'll be the one like, oh, I'm too anxious, I'm going to stay at home, and he's like, what do you mean you want to stay at home? But it's going to be fun. And I'm like, you don't understand, like it's different for me. But people are having to, like, as we're growing up, realise that he hasn't had anxiety, I have, and so everyone deals with things differently. We're trying to like just do that on our own and stuff. I think that's really interesting, and I like the thing about pushing yourself every day. I wish I could do that. I think that's really cool. Like that's like inspirational to me. I'm like, no, I'm like, I will try and do that once a day, and it's like even if it's a tiny thing or if it's like a massive thing.
And actually, the other thing that I do, not necessarily in relation to anxiety, but every morning. You know when you just have those days where you just feel so down and just like
flat.
Like even if it's not, even if you don't have depression or anything like that, like it's just like
everyone has bad days.
I had one yesterday where I just felt so moody during the day, but I try and get up. And this is going to sound so cheesy, but every morning I think like I'm going to have a good day. Like
no, that's good, honestly,
Because like one of my New Year's resolutions like 2 years ago was to be more positive. Because my mum used to be like, your cup is half empty, like not half full, you're like your dad, like you're both so moody all the time. So I changed my attitude just to kind of life in general, and that's helped a lot.
I think that's really good.
A lot.
I like that. People always say that to me. They're like, oh, I wake up and I have like an affirmation. I'll be like, today it's going to be a good day. And I just like forget to do those kind of things. Like I'd love to stand in the mirror and be like, yeah, today's going to be a great day. I just forget. But like if I do that, it genuinely does make the day a lot better and a lot brighter.
It took a while to get it like as a routine.
I think it's just like believing in yourself before anyone else believes in you. Like if you can stand in the mirror and be like, I'm going to have a good day, I can do this. Like no one else is going to be able to say that to you. No one else is going to feel the need to be like, you're going to have a great day. But if you can like be honest with yourself and just, even if it's a lie, even if it's just like fake confidence, like I'm going to be great today, and you kind of know that you're not. Like I think that's a really brave thing to do. I honestly think that's really cool.
Thank you.
I was going to ask about our generation, just because, how old are you? I haven't even asked you how old you are.
20.
Oh, cool, okay.
I forgot for a second, I was like, hold on.
I know, someone asked me the other day, because I turned 21 in March, and I literally went 20, wait, oh my god, I'm 21 now, and I was like...
I turned 20 like 2 months ago or something, February. But like, it's every time, I think I'm still like the age before for like 6 months.
I don't get used to being the new age until a month before I turn the next age, and then I'm like, and then I'm really into it, I'm like, I love this age, and then I change it, and I'm like, oh damn, I can't keep up. But I was going to say, because obviously we're both young, both uni students, do you think that our generation is kind of susceptible to mental health issues? And if you do, why?
I think like, I think social media is like the big kind of platform where our attitude has changed. And I think, I made some notes.
I love a prepared queen, I love it.
I think we've definitely become more aware through social media, and I think kind of this kind of generation is a lot more open to kind of realizing that everyone is affected by something, even if it's tiny. Like everyone has it, and I think kind of talking to like my grandparents and like my mum and dad. My mum and dad aren't as bad as my grandparents, but they're just like, what, like, but like their generation, like they don't realise that every other person like had it. But they just hid it. Like so I think through the influence of social media, I think that's been like massive. But I also think social media can be kind of dangerous for mental health, just because like massive influencers will come out as having a mental illness, and like kind of like ignorant followers might think that's cool. This is what I worry about. I don't want it to be a trend. Like I think it was going really well for a few years, and I love the fact that like big influencers who have a big audience are able to be like, I have anxiety, I have depression, and young people can look up. Like we didn't really have that growing up, I don't think. So people can have that now with YouTubers and bloggers and things, and be like, oh, I have that too, that makes me feel so much better. But I don't want kids to then see that and be like, it's the thing I said earlier about emotion and mental health. Like I don't want them to see that and be like, oh, I must have it too, because I sometimes get scared. And it's like you need to understand your own emotions a lot more than that. And 100%. Like in terms of awareness, I think we're definitely getting a lot better. But I think younger people have like an awareness of other people having it, but not necessarily themselves. That's definitely what I kind of struggled with, because I kind of pride myself in being really open-minded and not judgmental. So like, you could say anything to me, I'd be like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Secret safe with me.
Honestly, like, I will be totally fine with it. But then switching it like to internally, like actually analysing like what I go through and how I don't talk about it is an issue. Yeah.
Are you accepting of your own stuff that's going on?
And throughout the years, I think I am becoming more like fine with it, and like I'm okay with like accepting anxiety and all that stuff. But there's still a lot more to kind of get through, I think.
Definitely, yeah. And I think it is interesting with the generational thing, because like you said about the parents and grandparents, like if you think about stuff like, I don't know, our grandparents would think that they didn't know anyone that was gay, maybe. And then obviously like everything has just become a lot more fluid and a lot more talked about. Our grandparents would have known like tons of people that were gay, but they wouldn't have known that they were gay. But it's like the same with mental illnesses. There would have been like tons of people in our grandparents' lives who had depression or had maybe like PTSD from like the war and things like that, but they wouldn't have been talked about, so they wouldn't know about it. I think it is, like, I love the fluidity of the information now that's out there, but I do also get a bit scared about it, because I don't want like younger generations to take it too badly. Or like, I think more importantly than anything else, there should just be stuff in schools about it. Like I don't know about your schooling, I never had like anything about mental health, like literally nothing. I think they like mentioned the word depression like once, and then they just sort of awkwardly like shied away from it.
I think the education kind of system is so like, it's horrible in terms of mental health, where we don't get taught, like we do not get told about it at all. I didn't know what anxiety was until I was like, 15?
And that was through Googling it.
But also through like, we talk about like sex education and like how women kind of get told about STDs and like periods, but not about like sexual pleasure and like consent and all this stuff. Which I think is a social media, coming back to that's helped.
Definitely.
With that kind of aspect, but my school was terrible.
Atrocious. I think literally all they cared about teaching us at school was like drugs, peer pressure, and like a tiny bit about sex, but not like anything really useful. It was just like a picture of a vagina and like a dildo and like, this is a condom, and we'd just be like, okay, I guess I'm putting that on there now, and then like that would be it.
We didn't even get told about drugs.
Really?
Like I got to uni and I had to say to my friend like, wait, what's that?
What's this?
And she's like, didn't you like learn about it? And I was like, no.
Our teacher was like really intent on us learning about drugs, and it annoyed me because I didn't really care, and like I grew up in the middle of nowhere in the West Country, so we did not need to know that much about drugs. But she literally, I remember she brought out like a briefcase once, and it had like all these different like versions of drugs, and she was like, right, this is this is that, and I remember being like, I don't care, teach us something important. Like, not that drugs aren't an important thing to learn about, but I think within PSHE and stuff, I think there should be more of like a kind of a conversation, an open conversation with children, to be like, okay, this is what an emotion is, this is how you're feeling, this is completely natural, this is normal, this is mental health. Like, it should just be more of a conversation, and not as much like someone standing with a whitewboard being like,
telling you,
because that's just so like, it's just a dictatorship, being like, this is what you need to know, leave my classroom.
This is how you should feel. Like, if you feel like this, do this, but if you feel like a version of that, like don't worry about it.
Or like, this is maybe what you're feeling, but that's wrong, so try not to feel like that. And you just sort of be sat there like, I mean, okay, I'm sorry, I just want to feel what I want to feel, you know. But no, I definitely like, I get really angry about like the education system. Like, I get so pissed off about it. I was going to ask, because you're both, are you doing creative writing single? Okay, are you good? I don't meet many people that are doing single. Really? Most people I meet are like, oh, I'm joined, and I'm like, oh, I'm just a single.
I did join last year actually with drama, but I dropped that because it was a bit boring, to be honest. I kind of learned everything about drama in A-level, and it was kind of repetitive, but in my creative writing, like, I learned something every day. I just love it so much.
It's such a good degree. Like, when people ask me about it, I get so, like, I don't know, I'm just like, ooh,
it's so good.
I'll be like, ask me anything about it. But I was going to say, because obviously then we both do writing, do you think it kind of helps you to escape from mental health issues?
Yes, definitely. I think
what kind of writing do you do, by the way, just like context?
People
ask that, and I'm like,
prose mainly. Prose, like novels and kind of.
Did you do any like fantasy stuff?
I love fantasy.
Oh my god, okay.
So much.
I don't know why, I kind of like had that feeling about you. I was like, I bet she does like fantasy writing, and then I was like, wait.
Someone said that to me the other day, because I take a poetry module. I'm just shit at it.
Literally
so
same.
but like, I did it anyway, and it kind of improved my confidence. But someone said to me like, do you write fantasy? And I was like, yes, and like, you're so good at world building. And I was like,
honestly, I got that vibe off of you, and I was like, let me just ask, I wonder if she writes fantasy, because I just got that vibe.
I'm a bit obsessed with it. I just love magic.
Do you feel like with that then you can like even more of an escape because it's like a fantasy world?
Yeah, 100%. But also I feel like in like everything I write, kind of, I think it kind of naturally comes out, kind of feelings of like anxiety and stuff. Not necessarily with the characters, but maybe the way like I write it, just an awareness of everything.
Do you mean like if you're feeling it, it'll naturally just be in the writing?
But I also feel like with like my experience of anxiety and like honing in on every little detail about everyone and everything, that's really helped in my writing.
Oh really?
Because now I have, because when I picture myself as the character, I don't just go from action to action. I go from description just like everything around. I can bring to life, and that's really helped.
Yeah.
But also like, I think it does really help in terms of when I don't write. It's really odd. When I don't write at all for maybe like a week, I get really like stitchy. I
oh my god,
really
like
weird.
Jittery.
Yeah,
I literally get the same thing.
Like
it needs to come out.
Yeah, and then as soon as I write, I feel so great. It's so
I love that
weird.
you said that, because I always feel that, and I've told someone that before, and they were like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm fine, but like I just feel the need to do it.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it for like a day, it'll build up with me, and I'll get to like the end of the week, and I just get it all out, and I'm just like, oh, I feel good now. Okay, like it's so weird.
I really like having like tasks every week, like writing tasks, because that keeps it on a level where I can just like spill everything out and just like but then when it gets to summer and you're just not really doing anything, I still need to like write, like 100%, because like it just, I don't know
even
what
if it's something tiny every day, it just helps.
Yeah, even
it's like an addiction or something.
Yeah, like even like something would have happened on like a night out, and I'll get home like drunk, and like I need to get it out. Like I need to get my like little.
This is a great story.
Like, this happened. And like with dreams as well. Like as soon as I wake up and I have a dream, I'm like, oh my god, this could be like a story plot.
Oh, that's so cool.
It surrounds kind of every writer's life. I think, like 100%.
I feel like, well, at least I don't know, speaking for everyone who like has done this degree, but obviously because we're in our second year now, we're so near the end, which is really weird. But like I remember last year.
Terrifying.
Yeah, literally. We've all been talking about it recently, and I don't want to think about it. It's like next month, and I'm like, because we were like picking options for third year, and like doing student finance for third year, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. But I remember last year, like obviously everyone was in the same boat. We'd all started like. I hadn't done a creative writing A-level. I was like completely brand new to it. Yeah, and like almost everyone I met was like, oh, I just did an A-level, and I was like, great for you. This is completely terrifying for me. But I remember everyone being in the same boat, and everyone kind of talking about it, and everyone just being like, it's just this community, like it's just this sense of like when you're in it and when you are here writing, and when you have that, it's like when you first dip your toes in the water of writing, and then you're like, oh my god, I cannot stop. And then it's like addictive, and then you go home like for the holidays, and you're just like, oh, I want to go back, and it's just I don't know many degrees like that, but this one is just like,
I do love this degree in this like uni. Loads of people talk shit about it, and I'm just like, oh,
I have problems with like the uni in terms of like student support. I feel like a few issues, but
I mean,
the actual degree I love.
The actual degree is great. I really like it, and I like sitting, just like being around like everyone that's kind of like creative. Yeah. Just because I don't get that at home, because my sister is very much like my dad. Like he's very like analytical, and like he's like a manager of like a building company.
Oh, okay.
And she wants to do like business, and my mum's a little bit more like me. She's a bit ditzy, but she doesn't write, but she reads a lot, so that's nice. Yeah. But my dad and my sister always say like, you live in like another world, like
just in your head.
Yeah, when I don't concentrate on politics or anything, I'm just like, I want to like meet a dragon. And they're like, Katie, you need to like get with it, and I'll be like, I don't want to get with it.
Katie, taxes, and you're just like, no, but dragons and unicorns. I love that.
And
that's
then when
so funny.
Come like to, and like I talk to writers here, and I'm like, dragons, and they're like, oh my god,
dragons though.
Yeah. And I'm like, I feel it.
I love that part of the degree, like especially when I think in first year you will like find kind of groups that write like similar stuff to you, and you will sort of like portion off, and then you just like get really excited. Like I've had like hours and hours of conversations with people at uni, like who are doing our degree, who just like talk about like, I wrote this one thing, like, oh I read that once, oh my god, and I saw this TV show last month, and it was just like, it's just so much creativity and like inspiration. I love it.
I also love like how everyone doing creative writing is doing it because of a passion and not because of like money driven. Like, not so like some of my friends like are doing business because they want to be like be successful in kind of like money terms, but like I say to my family, I'm fine in like a rundown cottage with like 5 dogs. Like,
oh my god, that's the dream.
I know,
that's the actual dream.
I'm just like
I love that. I like the idea of it being like, I never really thought about that. We're doing it because we want to, and it's the creativity and not like, I need to get this job so my parents will be proud of me. Like, I don't really give a crap if my parents are proud of me. I just want to do what I enjoy.
Yeah, but I also think it's really brave when people admit that.
Yeah.
Because when I remember when I kind of had the idea of doing creative writing at uni, like my dad I was really lucky because he never kind of said, you know, you won't earn money, like you need to do something else. My family was always really supportive, but I remember like my mum kind of telling me that he was a bit scared.
Oh yeah.
Just because like he didn't want me to be like financially like in debt and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think through like this year especially, he's kind of realised like how passionate like we can be.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I think my family kind of realised that you know it's brave of me to say like
it's bold,
it's what we want to do kind of thing.
And I think like success can really be driven by passion, so I feel like even though I know a lot of us are going to graduate with like, we're not going to write a book straight away, we're maybe not going to have a job straight away, we're all going to have so much passion, and I feel like that's something that at least this uni and this like degree is really like cultivating. We're all going to be like completely passionate about our subjects, even if we don't like go into it for like another 10 years.
It kind of freaks me out when people aren't passionate about what they want to do. Because my sister, like, she doesn't really have a thing where she just absolutely loves. Like, my thing is books and writing, and like, but she doesn't really have anything specific to her, and I'm just like, how? Like, how aren't you kind of like, do you ever get that feeling when like your chest like feels like it's going to explode because you're talking about something you love, and she's like, no. And I'm like,
how do you live like that?
What are you? You're a robot.
You have no feeling. I guess everyone has like little passions, but I think it's just hard to see it like not as a big one, because all of my passions for writing are just so like big and dream-like, and I'm just like, oh, I'm going to be this person someday, and I've always been like that, so I think it's hard for me to see people like that as well.
Same.
But everyone's different, I suppose, aren't they? I was going to say, and this kind of, I guess, neatly links into, because you talk about family, do you have people in your life who really, really understand your mental health, and then do you have like people polar opposite who just don't understand it and don't talk to you about it?
I think I've had, I mean, I'm at uni. I'm lucky to be surrounded by my housemates who understand. 2 of them don't necessarily have any problem, especially my one friend Emily. She's just so confident in her own skin. She's just the best, and she's kind of like what I aspire.
Everything you want to be.
But then with Emmy, who you know, like I know she has experienced some things that I have, and it's just nice to kind of like joke about it sometimes, and just kind of play around and know that someone is there, and like we don't necessarily like talk in depth about it, but it's nice to know that someone's kind of in the same boat. But at home, my family hasn't had any issues, and it has been really kind of scary as I've grown up, and like I absolutely adore them, but they don't understand. And when I did say to my mum, like, listen, I think I've got anxiety, her first reaction was, no you don't, what are you talking about? Like, no you don't. And that was really disheartening. That was really painful, because like obviously like our parents know us in and out, but there are things that they don't understand and they can't really see.
It's private, it's inside you.
And when probably like the few of the kind of darkest days has been surrounding like my parents finding out about like self-harm.
Yeah.
And they did not understand it. Like, just had no idea, and they would it was horrible to see them terrified from when I kind of came out with having self-harm. They obviously instantly thought about like suicide. Like that, it's horrible to think that my parents think of that. But obviously they didn't understand it enough to realise there were different levels.
This is again like with the depression thing, with the grey like in between kind of scales. People don't assume that, you hear the word self-harm and you're like, oh my god, so she tried to kill herself, or she wanted that. And it's like, self-harm is such a difficult topic, but there's so many levels to it. And I've known, I mean, I was about to say hundreds, but I've known tens of people who have self-harmed who did it for a variety of different reasons, you know. And it was a kind of cry for help, some it was a genuinely wanting to feel pain because they felt really numb. Like it was completely different for different people. And I think it's kind of sad, like obviously your parents, they love you and they care about you, but I would have been like heartbroken if someone kind of
exactly, like
said that to me.
Imagine your own kid, like that's where like I kind of think I don't want to talk about it with my parents, just because I love them so much, and like seeing that kind of pain,
it's like you want to protect them from it.
It's horrible. So when I'm at home, I don't necessarily talk to them about it, but I know that they know, and I know that they'd be fine with, they're like accepting of it, but it is hard to kind of come out and say, look, I've experienced this, and they say, but like why? Like the thing with like the self-harm thing in like my family is that my mum kind of said like, no one's had it in our family. Like, why do you
Where's
have
this come
it?
from?
Where does it come from? So that was quite hard. But
definitely.
But no, the thing about self-harm, like, I don't know if I don't want to go into like.
No, you say whatever you feel comfortable with.
But like later in like a few years later, I kind of realised that it was actually linked more to anxiety than it was depression, because it was a release of when I was on the verge of a panic attack. And that was really kind of like strange to realise. And like
do you mean like you would do it instead of having the panic attack? It would be like a diversion. Kind of thing.
It was kind of like like you're gonna ooh, and then you do it and you're like whew. Kind of thing. And no one would understand that in my family. No one. But also growing up, I didn't have to kind of oppress it too much, because I had a friend that I could talk to her about it, and when I told her about and I showed her everything, she was fine. She was going through the same thing. So I was lucky in that aspect. But it's just, I mean, it is hard because you don't want to upset anyone, but you also don't want to suppress it so much that it gets so bad. So I think writing about
such a release.
Is such a good, amazing thing, and I think even if you're not a writer, I would encourage that.
Literally,
Just
every day.
It
literally is just on like the notes page on your phone, just like writing. Like I remember reading somewhere about like I think it was this writer who said one thing that helped me every day. I'd go after work or something, and I'd be on my phone and I would write like 5 bullet points of like all the things I've noticed that I felt today so far. And it was just a basic thing, just like writing down like I felt a bit awkward, I felt a bit nervous, I felt really silly earlier. But it's like she did that for I think like a year, and then after that she looked back on the notes page and she was like, oh my god, like I could track my emotions, and like writing that was just such a release. I think that's so interesting. Like I find that so interesting. I'm just like, oh my god, that's it really, really helps, honestly.
It does. It really does.
What do you think is something, because obviously, you know, you talked about you've had issues or you've experienced mental health issues, however you want to define it, since you were like 14, 15. What do you think is something that you've learned about looking after it and looking after yourself during that time?
I think I'm only actually coming to terms with kind of realising that I need to look after myself. Because I'm such a person that kind of, I do have a problem with putting it back to the back of my mind, just like deal with it later, and then it comes out at night, you know, how things do. You're sitting in bed and you're like, oh, this is blah blah blah, and it's funny you asked that, because yesterday I said I performed a poem for my class.
Oh, cool.
And my teacher and it was quite exposing, like, of what I had experienced with, like, feeling like numb after, like, sexual experiences and stuff. And she kind of sat back and she was like, we need to talk more about, like, looking after yourself when you've exposed something so private.
That's interesting.
And then
like
she
the
kind
aftermath.
and she kind of said, like, you know, go buy yourself a chocolate bar, like, have a bath, look after yourself. And I realise it now that it needs to be more talked about. Like, just kind of, because I read things about, like, you're allowed to take a mental health day, like, you're allowed to do it. But when I kind of do that, I have a habit of saying like, don't use it as an excuse not to work, or don't use it as an excuse not to, like, have fun and do something. So I'm still kind of, like, working that out.
That's really interesting, actually. That kind of reminds me of, like, the idea of, like, a wound and, like, a plaster, and, like, kind of peeling off the plaster and having the wound just, like, open, and then, like, not doing anything after to, like, look at. I think that's so, I've never really thought about that before. Because, like, I guess when you talk about mental, like, I've talked about mental health for the last few years, and it's kind of, I was thinking about this earlier, it's kind of annoying because, like, some people just assume I'm, like, that person. It's like, because I went through it during school and stuff, I think everyone's like, there's the girl who, like, had a breakdown, and, like, and I'm just like, that's me. But but when you talk about it, you get, like, identified as it. And I think for so many years I was just, like, so open, and I just, like, wrote articles and, like, wrote blog posts and just, like, spoke to people about it loads because it was, like, therapeutic to me. But I never, like, considered looking after myself during that time. I just sort of did it to help other people. But like, it's such an open, like, raw thing to do. It's crazy.
I think it's really important to, like, reflect as well. Just kind of, like, if you've had a bad day, just sit down and, like, do something that you love. So my downtime is reading, and that kind of sets me in a good enough mood to kind of reflect and stuff. I think that's really important, and I think I need to practice that a lot more, because, like, I'll go through, like, I'll be like, do this, do that, do this, do that. Oh, I feel a bit anxious here, but let's carry on with the day, blah, 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 blah. And then you don't kind of realise how you've pushed it to the back of your mind.
And I think, like, you have to, I don't know, you have to have this is what me and Amy were kind of talking about last week, but you have to have a kind of love and respect for yourself enough to be like, okay, I respect myself, I can see that I'm struggling, let myself have a day and just see, I need this, let's just go, and, like, turn your phone off and just don't do anything and just look after yourself. I think you can't do that until you really want to see yourself be better, until you really love yourself. Like, I think that has to have, you have to have both to really feel that. I'll probably ask one more question because we're, like, nearly about 40 minutes in. I'm going to try and be more strict than I was last week. I'm just, like, trying to cap it off. But I think the last thing that I want to ask, because genuinely I find this interesting as we're both uni students, do you think that uni life and uni culture has made your mental health worse or better, and, like, why? Do you think it's affected in any way?
100%. I think it's gotten better.
Oh, really?
Actually, because when I was at home, I really tended to hide behind my mum. And, like, hide behind my friends. And being thrown into a situation in first year where you're surrounded by complete strangers, and you have to be, like, 100% like yourself. And you have to be 100% independent. It 100% gave me more confidence.
That's really interesting.
So, like, I went to uni, and maybe a few months later I'd come back, and my grandparents were like, whoa, like, you're so much more, like, confident, and I felt more grown up. And, like, I'm not afraid to, like, get on the bus anymore, I'm not afraid to go into town on my own, even though it still, like, lives there, and it's still part of my everyday
but it's less
life. I wouldn't say it's necessarily less, but I've become a lot more accepting of it. And I've just kind of considered, you know, it's there. Like, it's fine if you feel this way, it's fine if you feel that way. But yeah, I've had more confidence with
That's really interesting. Because I think most people that I speak to about, like, uni culture, we kind of fixate on the negative aspects. Which, like, is probably a bad thing now that I'm thinking about it, but we kind of fixate on the stuff that negatively affects you. And I hadn't really considered, because, like, I think uni has been a really good thing for me, but I sometimes do fixate on, like, last year I was in a really bad place. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was uni's fault. But then I'm like, I think I was just going through a bad time. And uni actually is a really good opportunity, like, with workshopping and, like, creative writing classes. I'd never done something like that before.
Oh,
like sitting in a class of like 30 people and they just read out your work and then they just like slate you or like give you really good like feedback and you're just, it's the most terrifying thing. You're just sat there like, oh my god. But you learn excuse me, you learn so much from it. You learn so much about yourself and your ability, and you learn so much about like improvement and like also when it's workshopping someone else, it's like if we were workshopping yours, you learn so much about how to give someone that feedback and how to tell someone like, I really like this bit but I struggled with this bit, and like there's just so much you learn, and I think that's something that's really given me a lot more confidence.
I feel so much more confident as a writer, like because of uni. So much more. Like I look forward to workshopping now. I just want to improve and get better. I think I saw it last year as like a daunting thing, and now I'm just like, oh my god, workshopping. Terrified. Absolutely terrified. I'm still terrified with poetry actually, because I know I'm shit.
Oh my god.
But like with prose, I know that I'm like heading in the right direction.
See, I'm like, I've never really liked writing fiction. Like I'm not really a fiction person. We did a bit of it in last year because we sort of had to dabble in everything last year. And I remember like workshopping my fiction and everyone just being like, this is kind of like not great, and they were like looking at all the technical stuff and being like, you haven't done that, you haven't done that, and I was like, sorry. And with poetry, I did it last year, and like I love writing it, but I hate like studying other people's and like writing the essays and stuff, so I struggle with that, but it also, I learned so much from the workshopping from there. It really is helpful. So thank you so much for talking to me. That was so exciting and so lovely.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
That was really
you.
fun.
I'm gonna like I don't know how to say goodbye in these episodes. I'm just sort of like bye guys.